Hey guys, welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Obviously, at this point, we still do not have an answer at the Steelers quarterback position, so I wanted to get a video out to you guys. Still not feeling the best today, but I am here at home, and tomorrow I will be back in the office. I am starting to feel a little bit better, so I'm expecting to be back in the office tomorrow, where we'll have a full regular show. But today, wanted to get in front of the camera, just kind of break down some of the latest surrounding the Steelers quarterback position. We've heard quite a bit here over the last 48 hours or so, specifically about Justin Fields, where the team apparently still wants to bring back Justin Fields, but apparently Fields feels pretty good about his market value, and right now the New York Jets are a team that is apparently very much in on Justin Fields. Alan Saunders from Steelers Now reported earlier today that the Steelers and Fields are far apart on negotiations right now to bring him back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I would say at this point in time, guys, I would say it's looking like Justin Fields is going to be testing free agency, and he is going to be hitting the open market when the legal tampering period in the NFL starts on Monday. So if you're somebody out there in Steelers Nation that's hoping for Justin Fields to return as this team's starting quarterback, it's starting to look like, unless something comes up here in the last kind of hours before NFL free agency, which it could, the Steelers or Fields could potentially cave and they could come to some sort of agreement here. It's looking like it's heading towards Justin Fields hitting the open market. And I've been saying all week, I think if Fields hits the open market and he cannot come to terms with the Steelers on a new contract before free agency begins, I think he ends up going elsewhere, probably to the New York Jets. And there's a lot of talk about the reasons why that is, whether that's just financials, whether that's Justin Fields doesn't trust Mike Tomlin because he benched him last year, all these different things. Who knows what's true at this point? My best inclination is that, Justin Fields wants to get paid, and, that's probably the first aspect of it. He probably wants to get paid as much as he possibly can. But then also, I think another element here is he wants assurances that he's going to have probably the ability to be a starter for the entire season. And I don't know if he feels like he can get that assurance from the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point in time. Of course, last year, he was brought in to be kind of the backup to Russell Wilson. He got the opportunity to start early on because of Russ's injury early in the season. But then when Russ got healthy, he got benched after a 4-2 start. And of course, the rest is history. He hasn't started an NFL game since that moment. So if the New York Jets are willing to give him more money, give him an opportunity to play in a new offense with his old buddy Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, plus you got Ben Johnson's protege and his right-hand man in Detroit as the new OC there in New York, kind of seems like a good opportunity for Justin Fields to kind of make that his team and maybe establish himself as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So I get the appeal for Justin to want to go to the New York Jets instead of re-signing for less money with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, you could certainly make an argument, you've been in this system for a year here in Pittsburgh, you got a good defense to kind of buffer the offense, you got stable ground, continuity of the coaching staff here with Mike Tomlin as head coach. All those are arguments for him to stay here in Pittsburgh, and I don't think by any chance or by any stretch of the imagination it's impossible for Justin Fields to return, but it definitely seems like at this point he's at least willing to get to free agency so that he can see what other offers are out there. Now, at this specific point in time here, I do think that the Steelers have probably two different pathways that they could go. They could either A, lock up Russell Wilson before the start of free agency. A lot of the reports that we have heard from the team have said that they want to make sure they get one of these guys back before the start of free agency so that they know which wide receiver talent to go out and try to go get. And then I think that if they don't get Russell Wilson and they go into free agency on Monday without a deal with either Fields or Russ, I kind of feel like Aaron Rodgers is a name that's going to sneak in. We got a report from Benjamin Albright that we covered on the show 2 days ago, where he said the Steelers are keeping their eye on Aaron Rodgers. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'm thinking about what team to go to, do I want to go to Minnesota where they've got a first-round pick and J.J. McCarthy breathing down my neck the entire season? Do I want to go to the New York Giants where they're thinking of trading up for Cam Ward right now, breathing down my neck? Or do I want to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team with a head coach that I admire in Mike Tomlin, a defense that can certainly play high-level caliber ball when they're playing well, and then you can bring in Devontae Adams to fill the need at wide receiver. And you get George Pickens, Calvin Austin III, Pat Freiermuth. Hopefully they can get a good running back to pair with Jalen Warren this year, and a young and I guess you can say promising offensive line heading into next year. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm looking at the options. I mean, obviously Minnesota with Justin Jefferson, Kevin O'Connell, that would be fun to go play there. But I think that Pittsburgh offers him an opportunity to not only play this season, but also have job security and to play for multiple seasons if that's still what he wants to do. So I think that Aaron Rodgers is probably the name I'd be keeping my eye on if the Steelers make it to free agency without a deal done with either Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. And that's where I kind of feel like everything is at right now. And before I head out here for the day, guys, I want to kind of talk about this topic because, of course, Geno Smith got traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick last night. And I'm looking at the situation and what the Steelers could have potentially offered Seattle for Geno, and I think it would have been worth it. I think it was probably a missed opportunity by Omar Khan to not get Geno Smith. Now, I know what you're saying at home, but Jack, the Steelers would have had to pay Geno $40 to $45 million per season to make that happen. The reason why I think that it would be worth it, guys, is because Geno Smith, in my opinion, based on the film that I've seen from him over the last several years in Seattle, he is probably the most underrated quarterback in the NFL right now. He's got really underrated arm talent, probably the most underrated arm talent in the league. Underrated pocket presence. He's got a really good processor. He does a really, really good job managing the game, and he has about 4 or 5 throws a game where it's like, wow, what a throw. He's got really good arm strength, but he pairs that with a really great ability to make big time throws down the field, and that's what the Steelers would really need, especially because apparently, according to Omar Khan, this team is still trying to win Super Bowls right now. And I think that Geno's kind of prime window, he's 34 years old, so he's kind of at the tail end of his prime, kind of matches up perfectly with the timetable the Steelers have right now, trying to get TJ Watt and Cam Hayward a ring before Cam retires in 2 years. So, I think a lot of people see the price tag of $40 to $45 million a year and they get scared off. But the reality is, if they would have traded for Geno, guys, they could have offloaded a lot of that money, and the cap hit for 2025 wouldn't have been 40 or 45 million. It would have been somewhere around the range of 20 to 25, which is more than reasonable for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially if you're getting a guy like Geno Smith, who's a franchise-level quarterback, easily a top 15 QB in the league, in my opinion, borderline top 10. And, those kinds of quarterbacks just aren't available to the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into free agency right now. I mean, the other guys outside of Geno that the Steelers now have to contend with are either older guys that are looking to bounce back like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, or you're dealing with younger, unproven quarterbacks that are looking to establish themselves, guys like Daniel Jones or Justin Fields. So I think that if I were the Steelers GM, Omar Khan, and I was trying to win a Super Bowl right now, I would have probably sent my third-round draft pick for Geno Smith, and I would have paid him the money that he wanted, and I would have used certain cap measures, backloading, void years, all the stuff that really smart GMs do to lower players' cap hits. I probably would have done that stuff because I think that if you're going to try and go and win, you got to go and try and win. And I would have rather paid the premium there for a surefire franchise-level quarterback as opposed to, going with some of these cheaper options that are cheaper for a reason, right? If you get Aaron Rodgers, you're hoping that he can turn it around from a disappointing season last year. If you go with Russell Wilson, you're hoping that he can turn it around after a disappointing end to his 2024 season. If you go with Justin Fields, you're hoping that he can turn it around from 4 years of poor play in the National Football League and finally have that breakout season. with all the other quarterback options now at the Steelers' disposal, you're hoping that they can even get to a level close to where Geno Smith is now. And for just a third-round pick and then a contract that isn't even top 10 money at the quarterback position right now, I think that is absolutely a move that personally I would have made if I were the Steelers GM, Omar Khan. But obviously now we have to make that adjustment here, and we got to turn to some of the other options. And I think the best way forward, and I said this on the show 2 days ago, guys, is to get a veteran, somebody that's been in the playoffs, somebody that won't be afraid of that big stage if he hits, but then also draft a younger quarterback that could be the guy of the future. If I had a higher level of confidence in Justin Fields to be able to be the guy of the future, I would probably go with him. But unfortunately, I don't have a high level of confidence that he's going to be able to be that. So personally, I would not go with Justin Fields. I would rather go with either Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, somebody that hopefully with a better O-line, better weapons, and a better run game can hopefully get this team not only back to the playoffs, but to a playoff game and win a playoff game, but then also have a younger quarterback in there, somebody like a Tyler Shuck out of Louisville, Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss, somebody you draft on day 2 or early day 3 of the NFL draft. And that's probably what I would end up doing. And I'm really excited to see what's going to be happening here over the next couple of days, if not hours. We'll keep you guys updated with all the latest quarterback news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers right here on Steelers Talk. And of course, we'll be going live for probably most of the days of free agency, if not every single day of free agency this week. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already for more extensive Steelers coverage. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.